The metallic hum of the Orium Nexus space station reverberated through its crystalline corridors. Synthetic light from the fusion core cast an eerie glow across the faces of alien diplomats as they hurried through the grand hall. Ambassador Darius Caney stood motionless, observing the movement patterns of various species as they navigated the diplomatic center. His enhanced eyes, a product of gen-splicing military technology, tracked micro-expressions and physiological responses invisible to normal humans. Ambassador Caney, the Zenith Council requests your presence in 30 minutes. A voice spoke through his neural implant. Darius acknowledged with a slight nod that no one could see. He straightened his obsidian suit, a marvel of Earth engineering that concealed more weapons and technological advantages than most military vessels. The suit was the perfect metaphor for Earth's new approach to interstellar politics, polished, professional, and hiding lethal capability beneath its surface. The year 2475 had dawned on a humanity forever changed by the Third Nuclear War. Earth had survived, but only by becoming something else entirely. The devastation had culled the weak and forged the remaining population into a unified force with a single directive. Never again would humanity risk extinction. Orium Nexus orbited a massive gas giant in neutral space, established as the galaxy's premier diplomatic hub, where the most advanced species gathered to negotiate, trade, and form alliances. For centuries, the Zenith Council, a triumvirate of ancient species, had maintained their dominance through sophisticated political maneuvering and technological superiority. Earth had been a minor player, grateful for scraps of technology and trade agreements. Not anymore. Darius moved toward the preparation chamber, where his team, officially designated as Apex Envoy, awaited his arrival. Each member had been selected not for their diplomatic acumen, but for their predatory instincts, honed in Earth's most dangerous environments. The door slid open with a whisper, revealing 5 individuals arranged around a holographic display of the station. They turned to him with the synchronized awareness of apex predators, acknowledging the Alpha's arrival. "Our orders have been updated," Darius announced, his voice carrying the authority of Earth Command. "The diplomatic mission is now classified as a facade." Major Rhea Voss, his internal security specialist, raised an eyebrow. "What's our actual objective?" Darius activated the room's privacy field before responding. "We're not here to negotiate. We're here to seize control of the Alliance networks through diplomatic assassination, technological blackmail, and economic manipulation." Dr. Lucan Voss, the economic strategist, smiled thinly. "Finally, a mission worthy of our capabilities." "Earth has decided diplomacy moves too slowly," Darius continued. "We've spent decades rebuilding our strength while appearing weak. Now, we use that misconception to our advantage." Operative Moria Song, the psychological expert, nodded. "The element of surprise is significant. None of the Council species consider humans a threat." "Because they've never seen us hunt," Darius replied. "And that's exactly what we're going to do." Dex Harrison and Cassandra Vale, the team's biotechnology and cultural specialists, exchanged glances. Cassandra spoke first. "We've prepared Psi-tactical profiles on all major representatives. The Vorax delegate has several exploitable vulnerabilities in his political alliances." "Good," Darius said. "We begin with him. First phase, information extraction. Second, destabilization of his coalition. I want options on my desk in 3 hours." As the team dispersed to their assignments, Darius remained alone, staring at the holographic representation of the Orium Nexus. The station rotated slowly, a jewel of interstellar cooperation that humans had been invited to join as junior partners. His enhanced vision zoomed in on the Council chambers, where, in less than a day, Earth would begin its silent conquest. "We didn't come to talk," he whispered to himself. "We came to rule." The sentiment wasn't just his personal motivation. It was the coded directive from Earth Command, Operation Apex Ascendancy had begun. The preparation chamber transformed into a hive of calculated activity. Each member of the Apex Envoy team operated with the precision of a well-oiled machine, their movements economical and purpose-driven. Rhea approached Darius with a secure data tablet. "I've completed the security analysis of the Zenith Council chamber. 3 blind spots in their surveillance system, 2 potential emergency exits, and 1 critical weakness in their quantum encryption." Darius reviewed the information, his enhanced mind processing the tactical advantages. "The encryption flaw. Can we exploit it without detection?" "Already in progress," she replied. "Captain Saran is implementing a passive tap that mimics normal data fluctuations. We'll have access to their private communications within 12 hours. The mention of Saran caused a momentary tightening around Darius's eyes. Captain Levi Saran was the newest addition to the team, a communications specialist with an impressive record. Yet, something about the man set off Darius's finely tuned instincts, a predator recognizing another predator with potentially different prey in mind. "Keep Saran under observation," he instructed quietly. "I want to know if he deviates from protocol, even slightly." Rhea nodded, her expression revealing nothing. As Earth's top counterintelligence operative, she understood the directive's implications. Across the room, Dr. Lucan Voss manipulated holographic market projections with gesture commands. The plasma energy markets that powered most of the galactic economy flickered in translucent blue before him. "Ambassador," he called, not looking away from his calculations. "I've identified 3 critical nexus points in the interstellar plasma trade. A strategic information leak here." He highlighted a pulsing node. "Would create a market fluctuation that would specifically impact the Vorax financial holdings, while appearing to be natural market movement." Darius moved to examine the simulation. Time frame. Initial impact within hours. Full effect in 3 days, just before the expansion session where voting rights are determined. Lucan's eyes gleamed with the satisfaction of a perfect equation solved. "The beauty is in the plausible deniability. When the Vorax representative is forced to liquidate certain holdings to cover losses, it will appear as poor financial management rather than sabotage." "Implement it," Darius ordered. "But ensure our Earthblock investments are positioned to absorb the fallout without appearing opportunistic." Moria Song sat motionless in a corner, his eyes closed in deep concentration. As the team's empathic specialist, enhanced with banned psycho-reactive implants, he was cataloging the emotional signatures of every delegate they'd encountered. His ability to read micro-expressions and pheromone patterns made him invaluable for anticipating reactions and manipulating emotional responses. "The Vorax ambassador fears obsolescence more than death," Moria stated, opening his eyes. "His species values evolutionary advancement above all else. Their cultural narrative centers on being the next stage of galactic development." Darius processed this information, already seeing the leverage points. "So, we demonstrate that humans represent that next evolutionary step, not through biological superiority, but through adaptive ruthlessness." "Precisely," Morius confirmed. "We don't need to be stronger or more intelligent. We simply need to prove we're more willing to do whatever is necessary to survive and thrive." In the far corner, Dex Harrison and Cassandra Vale worked in tandem on what appeared to be innocuous diplomatic gifts. In reality, they were engineering microscopic biological agents designed to create specific effects in target species. "The targeted pathogen for the Miran delegation is complete," Dex reported. "Non-lethal, as ordered, but will create symptoms of immune compromise that will force them to seek medical assistance, which we will providentially offer," Cassandra added. "The cultural implications are significant. In Miran society, illness suggests spiritual weakness. Their representative will lose standing precisely when the Council votes on resource allocation for the Outer Rim territories." "And our medical assistance will contain surveillance technology?" Darius inquired. "Better," Cassandra smiled. It contains a compound that creates mild dependency. They'll require regular treatments, which gives us ongoing access and influence." Darius nodded approvingly. "Apply the same approach to the Kithrin and Solus delegations. I want all 3 minor factions dependent on Earth support before the week is out." The final preparations continued into the station's artificial night cycle. As the lights dimmed to simulate evening, Darius stood before the observation window, gazing at the gas giant's swirling atmosphere below. The planet's turbulent storms reminded him of Earth's violent history, chaotic, destructive, yet ultimately giving rise to creatures perfectly adapted to harness that very chaos. A soft alert from his neural implant reminded him of the approaching council meeting. It was time to put their strategy into motion. Earth's predators were about to enter the diplomatic hunting grounds, disguised as something the galaxy had been programmed to trust: well-dressed ambassadors with extended hands and practiced smiles. What the galaxy would soon learn was that Earth didn't send diplomats. They sent apex predators in suits. The Grand Council chamber of the Orium Nexus gleamed with artificial opulence. Crystalline formations that doubled as both art and surveillance technology hung from the vaulted ceiling, refracting light into patterns pleasing to multiple species' visual organs. The circular arrangement of delegation pods formed a deliberate hierarchy. The 3 Zenith Council members occupied elevated positions, while lesser species were arranged in descending order of influence. Earth's delegation had been assigned a position near the bottom, befitting their supposed status as newcomers to galactic politics. Darius noted with cold amusement how this physical arrangement reinforced the psychological positioning the Council wished to establish. The symbolism wouldn't be lost on any attendee. Earth was to look up to their betters. That would soon change. Ambassador Vorax of the Zenith Council called the session to order. His species, the Draconis, possessed an imposing physical presence, 3 meters tall with iridescent scales and multiple cybernetic enhancements, visible along his elongated skull. When he spoke, subharmonic frequencies carried implicit dominance signals that most species unconsciously responded to. "Representatives of the galactic community," Vorax began, his translator rendering his complex language patterns into the standardized diplomatic tongue. "We convene to address matters of interstellar importance. Before we proceed to new business, are there outstanding matters requiring immediate attention?" This was the opening Darius had anticipated. He activated his neural implant, signaling Rhea to implement the first phase of their plan. Simultaneously, he rose from his seat, drawing all eyes toward the human delegation. "The Earth block requests recognition," Darius stated, his voice modulated to project calm authority. A ripple of surprise moved through the chamber. Earth rarely spoke during these proceedings, typically observing and accepting whatever decisions the Council made. Ambassador Vorax's multifaceted eyes narrowed slightly. "The Council recognizes Earth's representative. State your matter." Ambassador Caney. Darius moved to the central speaking platform with measured steps. "Honorable delegates, Earth wishes to address a matter of grave concern: the recent disruption in plasma energy distribution to the Outer Rim colonies." The chamber remained silent, but Darius's enhanced senses detected the subtle shifts in posture and biochemical signals from the Zenith Council members. They hadn't expected this topic to be raised by Earth, especially not publicly. "This is an administrative matter being handled by the Resource Allocation Committee," Ambassador Vorax responded dismissively. "It hardly warrants Council attention." "With respect," Darius continued, his tone unchanged. "When 17 colonies experience simultaneous energy shortages resulting in over 12,000 civilian casualties, it transcends administrative concern." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The casualty figures were significantly higher than what had been reported in official channels. Darius knew this because Earth had agents on each affected colony. Some had even helped engineer the shortages while making them appear as Zenith Council negligence. These are unverified numbers, Vorax countered, a hint of agitation seeping into his subharmonics. Perhaps the council would prefer to review the evidence, Darius gestured, and holographic projections materialized throughout the chamber. Images of suffering colonists, failed life support systems, and damning correspondence between Zenith officials discussing cost-saving measures that prioritized central worlds over expendable outposts. The correspondence was largely fabricated by Earth's Information Warfare Division, but it contained enough actual data points to make verification difficult. More importantly, it confirmed suspicions that many species already harbored about the Council's priorities. This is highly irregular. The second Zenith Council member, Ambassador Talassi of the crystalline Lumidian species, interjected. These matters must be submitted through proper channels for verification before presentation. Darius bowed slightly. Earth apologizes for the irregularity, but the urgency of suffering cannot always wait for a bureaucratic process. We merely wish to offer assistance. Assistance? Vorax's tone had shifted to barely disguised suspicion. Yes, Darius replied smoothly. Earth has developed a more efficient plasma distribution system that could be implemented immediately in the affected colonies. We are prepared to provide this technology as a humanitarian gesture, asking only for oversight rights to ensure proper implementation. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of reactions. Smaller delegations, particularly those with connections to the affected colonies, voiced support. The Zenith Council members exchanged encrypted communications that Rhea was already intercepting and decoding through their implanted backdoor. Order, Vorax commanded, using his subharmonics to quell the noise. Ambassador Caney, while Earth's concern is noted, the Council cannot approve untested technology for critical infrastructure without proper evaluation. Of course, Darius conceded with perfect diplomatic grace. Earth understands the need for caution. Perhaps a joint committee to expedite the evaluation process? Given the ongoing loss of life, we believe time is of the essence. Before Vorax could respond, the Moran delegate, whose systems were already being affected by the microscopic agents Dex had introduced during the pre-session reception, rose unsteadily. The Moran Collective supports Earth's proposal, the delegate announced, their voice slightly strained. We have colonies among the affected and cannot tolerate further delay. Two more voices of support followed, the Kithrin and Solus representatives, exactly as Darius had engineered. With three minor factions now aligned with Earth's position, the political dynamics had shifted noticeably. Ambassador Vorax's scales darkened slightly, a sign of anger in his species. Very well. A joint evaluation committee will be formed. Representatives from Earth, the Zenith Council, and affected colonies will begin work immediately. This session is adjourned for a recess. As the delegates dispersed, Darius made his way back to the Earth pod, where Rhea waited with a neutral expression that masked her satisfaction. Phase 1 complete, she murmured. The surveillance tap captured all encrypted communications. The Zenith Council is alarmed by our unexpected assertiveness. Good, Darius replied. Alarm leads to mistakes. What about Captain Saran's assignment? A flicker of concern crossed Rhea's features. That's the anomaly. He's placed all the monitoring systems as instructed, but I detected an unauthorized transmission burst hidden within normal communication channels. It was directed toward Zenith Council, secure frequencies. Darius's expression remained unchanged, but his pulse quickened slightly. Keep this information compartmentalized. Continue monitoring him, but reveal nothing. If he's compromised, we need to know who he's working for and what information has been transmitted. As they exited the chamber, Darius noticed Ambassador Vorax watching him with an intensity that confirmed their plan was working. The Predator had noticed another predator in his territory. The game had begun. In the secured Earth quarters, the Apex Envoy team reconvened to assess their progress. Dr. Lucan Voss activated a holographic display, showing real-time market reactions to their manipulated plasma energy crisis. The economic impact is proceeding as calculated, he reported. Vorax's personal holdings have already decreased by 12%. By tomorrow, they'll fall below the threshold required for his family's seat on the Draconis Commerce Guild. Will he be forced to liquidate his position in the Outer Rim development projects? Darius asked. Inevitably, Lucan confirmed. And when he does, our shell corporations are positioned to acquire those assets at depreciated values. Moria Song, who had been present during the council session, offered his assessment. Vorax's emotional state is deteriorating. His species values control above all else, and our maneuvers are creating the perception that he's losing it. The subharmonic frequencies in his speech patterns showed increased stress indicators. Darius nodded. Then we accelerate. Cassandra, status on our 3 supporting delegations? Cassandra Vale consulted her biometric feeds. The Moran representative's symptoms are progressing as designed. They've already requested medical consultation. The Kithrin and Solus representatives show initial indicators as well. All 3 will be dependent on our treatments within 48 hours. And our surveillance network? Darius turned to Dex Harrison. Fully operational, Dex replied. We're now monitoring 93% of all non-encrypted communications on the station, and approximately 67% of what they believe is secure. Throughout the briefing, Darius noticed Captain Saran's subtle attempts to access information beyond his clearance level. The communications specialist maintained a perfect professional demeanor, but his neural interface showed multiple attempts to connect with restricted data channels. Captain Saran, Darius addressed him directly. Your assessment of council communication patterns? Saran responded without hesitation. They're increasing encryption levels and frequency of exchanges. Most communications now route through quantum-shielded channels. However, they're still using the standard diplomatic protocols for interspecies coordination, which gives us several exploitation vectors. The information was accurate, but deliberately incomplete. Darius could detect the careful omission of certain details. His suspicions about Saran's loyalty deepened. Implement enhanced monitoring on those vectors, Darius ordered. Major Voss will assist with security protocols. The implied pairing would allow Rhea to watch Saran more closely, while appearing to be standard procedure. As the meeting concluded, Darius received a priority alert from Earth Command. He dismissed the team and secured the communication channel. The holographic figure of Fleet Admiral Helena Voss, Rhea and Lucan's mother, and the architect of Earth's new interstellar doctrine, materialized before him. Ambassador Caney, she greeted him, her scarred face showing no emotion. Your initial maneuvers have been noted with approval. The Council's reaction suggests vulnerability. Yes, Admiral. We've established leverage points with 3 minor factions and begun economic pressure against Vorax's position. However, we may have a security concern. He briefed her on the suspicions regarding Captain Saran. The Admiral's expression hardened. This complicates matters, but may also present an opportunity. If Saran is indeed compromised, he could be used to feed disinformation, maintain surveillance but proceed with the next phase. The Apex fleet has been mobilized and awaits your signal. The revelation sent a chill through Darius. The Apex fleet, Earth's hidden armada of advanced warships, had been Earth's most closely guarded secret. Its existence was known to only the highest levels of command. Admiral, deployment of the fleet wasn't scheduled until after diplomatic control was secured. Plans have accelerated, she replied. Intelligence suggests the Zenith Council may have discovered portions of our long-term strategy. We must move more aggressively. Your new objective: secure control of the Orium Nexus itself within 72 hours. The entire station? Darius couldn't hide his surprise. That would require... Whatever is necessary. The Admiral cut him off. Earth has waited long enough to claim its rightful position. The Zenith Council has dominated for centuries through manipulation and deceit. We will do it better. After the transmission ended, Darius stood motionless, recalculating their approach. Controlling the station meant neutralizing not just the Council's political power, but their physical presence as well. It would require violence, something Earth had promised to avoid in this mission. But promises, like diplomatic pleasantries, were just another form of camouflage for predators. The station's artificial night cycle found Darius in the observation deck, staring at the gas giant below. Its swirling storms reminded him of the chaos about to be unleashed. He sensed, rather than heard someone approach, his enhanced reflexes, automatically calculating threat assessments. Unable to sleep. Ambassador? The voice belonged to Ambassador Talassi, the Lumidian council member, whose crystalline form refracted the starlight into prismatic patterns. "I find the view conducive to contemplation," Darius responded, turning to face the alien diplomat. The Lumidian's transparent body structure made it impossible to conceal weapons, but Darius remained alert. In his experience, the most dangerous weapons were rarely physical. Indeed, the eternal storms below mirror the political turbulence above. Talassi moved closer. "Your presentation today was unexpected. Earth has traditionally maintained a more passive presence." Darius offered a practiced smile. "Perhaps Earth has simply found its voice." "Or perhaps," Talassi countered, crystalline features shifting to indicate serious intent, "Earth has found new teeth. We are not blind to the changes in your world. Ambassador Caney, the third nuclear war transformed more than your landscape." "Suffering often catalyzes evolution," Darius acknowledged. "Evolution, yes." The Lumidian's form pulsed with internal light. "But toward what end? The Council has observed your species' remarkable adaptability with great interest. You have transformed from nearly extinct to formidably resilient in a mere century. Such accelerated development raises questions. Questions the Council prefers to ask from a position of authority rather than partnership," Darius suggested, keeping his tone diplomatic while inserting the barb. Talassi's crystalline body emitted a harmonic resonance, the equivalent of a knowing laugh. "You misunderstand the Council's position, Ambassador. We do not fear Earth's rise. We welcome it, under proper guidance." "Guidance," Darius repeated, letting the word hang between them. "Consider this an unofficial conversation between potential allies," Talassi continued. "Ambassador Vorax represents the traditional Council approach, hierarchical, conservative. Some of us envision a more adaptive coalition, one where rising powers like Earth could play a more significant role." The implication was clear: a fracture within the Zenith Council that might be exploited, or, more likely, a trap to reveal Earth's true intentions. "An interesting perspective," Darius replied neutrally. "One I'm sure Earth's leadership would find worthy of consideration. Consider swiftly, Ambassador. Opportunities in galactic politics are as fleeting as the eye of a storm." Talassi gestured toward the gas giant below. "And much like those storms, what appears to be chaos often follows precise physical laws, if one knows how to read them." With that cryptic statement, the Lumidian Council member departed, leaving Darius to analyze the exchange. He immediately activated his neural implant, recording his analysis for the team. Talassi has made an overture suggesting Council division. Probability of sincere offer, 30%. Probability of information gathering tactic, 70%. Adjust strategy to feed controlled information through channels Talassi will monitor. Also, accelerate surveillance on Lumidian communications. If there is indeed Council fracturing, we need to identify all potential factions. The game had become more complex. Earth's predators weren't the only ones hunting on the station. And now, time was running out. Morning cycle brought renewed activity to the Orium Nexus. Delegates hurried through corridors, Aides exchanged information, and beneath it all, the currents of power shifted imperceptibly toward a new configuration, one engineered by Earth's apex envoys. Darius received Rhea's security briefing in the Earth block's secure chamber. Her expression was grave as she presented her findings. Captain Saran's communications have been decoded. He's transmitting intelligence to a third party, but not the Zenith Council as we suspected. Who then? Darius asked, instantly alert. Earth Command. But not through standard channels. Rhea's voice held barely contained anger. He reports directly to Section Black. Section Black, the ultra-classified intelligence division that operated without oversight, answerable only to the highest echelons of Earth leadership. Their existence was officially denied, even to most military commanders. He's been monitoring our team, she continued. Every decision, every action, cataloged and transmitted back to Section Black, including our suspicions about him. Darius processed this revelation with cold calculation. So Earth doesn't fully trust its own Apex Envoy team? Apparently not, Rhea replied bitterly. The question is whether we should confront him or use this knowledge to our advantage. Before Darius could respond, an emergency alert pulsed through their neural implants. Dr. Lucan Voss's voice came through on the secure channel. Ambassador, we have a critical situation. The plasma market manipulation has triggered automated defense protocols in the financial systems. Vorax's holdings are being artificially supported by Council emergency funds. Our economic pressure tactic has been exposed. Darius and Rhea moved immediately to the command center, where the rest of the team had assembled. Holographic displays showed market trajectories, suddenly reversing course. How were they able to counter our strategy so quickly? Darius demanded. Lucan's expression was grim. Someone provided them with the exact algorithm we used to trigger the cascade. They implemented a perfect countermeasure. All eyes turned to Captain Saran, who stood calmly beside the communications array. You believe I betrayed our operation, he stated, rather than asked. The evidence suggests information leakage, Darius replied carefully. Your undisclosed connection to Section Black raises questions about your primary loyalties. Saran's expression remained impassive. My loyalty is to Earth, Ambassador, as is yours. Section Black's directives sometimes operate on information unavailable to field teams. What information? Rhea demanded. The Zenith Council has been aware of Earth's broader strategy for months, Saran revealed. They've been allowing us to believe our operations were succeeding, to monitor our methods and capabilities. The statement hit the team like a physical blow. If true, it meant their entire mission had been compromised from the beginning. You've been feeding them information to maintain this illusion, Darius concluded. Controlled information, Saran corrected. Enough to maintain their confidence while gathering intelligence on their response patterns. This market countermeasure reveals something critical. They have an economic AI system far more advanced than our intelligence suggested. Darius studied Saran carefully, his enhanced senses detecting no deception. Why wasn't this strategy communicated to me as mission commander? Compartmentalization, Saran answered simply. Section Black determined that genuine reactions from the team would be necessary to maintain operational credibility. The tension in the room had reached a breaking point when Cassandra's monitoring equipment began signaling an alert. We have a medical emergency with the Miran delegate, she reported, checking her biomonitors. The pathogen's effects are accelerating beyond projected parameters. Their life signs are destabilizing. That's impossible, Dex objected, moving to verify the readings. The pathogen was engineered for discomfort, not lethality. Unless it was tampered with, Morius suggested quietly. The implication hung in the air. If the Miran delegate died from an Earth-engineered pathogen, the diplomatic consequences would be catastrophic. Exactly the kind of incident that would justify Council action against Earth. Darius made an immediate decision. Cassandra, Dex, Prepare an antidote and get it to the Moran quarters immediately. Claim you detected a natural contagion and developed a counteragent. Rhea, enhance security on all our biological samples. Lucan, disengage from the market manipulation operation and erase our digital footprints. Morius, prepare psychological profiles for crisis management. Captain Saran. He paused, making a calculated risk assessment. Continue your regular communications with Section Black, but route copies to my personal encryption. From now on, we operate with full internal transparency. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Darius received another priority communication, this time not from Admiral Voss, but from Earth's Prime Directorate itself. The message was brief and chilling. Zenith Council planning preemptive strike. Orium Nexus compromised. Execute Dominance Protocol immediately. Apex Fleet ETA 18 hours. The situation had escalated beyond diplomatic maneuvering. Earth was now committed to a direct power play that would reshape galactic politics forever. And Darius's team stood at the center of what would soon become a storm far more violent than any swirling on the gas giant below. The next 12 hours transformed the Orium Nexus from a diplomatic hub into a carefully disguised battleground. While outwardly maintaining the appearance of normal functions, both the Zenith Council and Earth's envoys prepared for confrontation. Darius convened an emergency strategy session with his team in their most secure facility, a shielded chamber within their quarters that blocked all external surveillance. The Dominance Protocol requires us to secure control of the station's core systems before the Apex Fleet arrives, he explained, displaying holographic schematics of the station's infrastructure. Our primary challenge is the distributed command architecture. No single point grants total control. The Zenith Council designed it that way deliberately, Rhea noted. After the Proxima Station hijacking a century ago, they implemented redundancies specifically to prevent takeovers. Yet every system has vulnerabilities, Darius countered. Dr. Voss, what have you found? Lucan manipulated the holographic display, highlighting specific nodes within the station's architecture. The primary vulnerability isn't technological, it's biological. The station's most critical systems require biometric authorization from council members. No override codes, no administrative backdoors. So we need either their cooperation or their biological signatures, Darius concluded. Their biological signatures would be sufficient, Dex confirmed. But obtaining them without detection would be nearly impossible. Council members are constantly monitored and protected. Cassandra, who had returned from successfully treating the Moran delegate, offered another perspective. We could create a situation that requires emergency protocols. During station-wide emergencies, command authority temporarily centralizes for efficiency. Creating an emergency large enough to trigger those protocols would endanger everyone on the station, Rhea objected. Not if the emergency is merely perceived, rather than actual, Moria suggested. My specialization is manipulation of perception. All eyes turn to the psychological operative, Morius continued, his voice taking on a clinical detachment. With precise application of targeted hallucinogens in the station's atmospheric processors, we could create the impression of an emergency without causing actual harm. Specific sectors would perceive threats that don't exist, triggering emergency protocols. That would be detected by environmental monitors, Rhea pointed out. Not if we simultaneously compromise those monitoring systems, Captain Saran interjected. I've identified vulnerabilities in the environmental control network. With proper timing, we could insert the compounds and mask their presence in the monitoring data. Darius considered the proposal, weighing risks against potential success. The ethical implications are significant. We would be effectively drugging an entire station population. With non-harmful compounds, Morius clarified. Temporary effects, no lasting damage. And the alternative? Lucan asked pointedly. The Apex Fleet arrives in 18 hours. If we haven't secured control by then, They'll use more direct methods. The casualty projections for a military takeover of this station would be catastrophic. The harsh reality settled over the room. Earth had committed to claiming dominance, one way or another. Their team now had to choose the path with the least bloodshed. We proceed with the perception manipulation strategy, Darius decided. But, with a modification, we target only specific sectors, primarily those housing council security forces and administrative personnel. Civilian areas remain unaffected. The team acknowledged the directive and began detailed planning. As they worked, Darius pulled Rhea aside for a private conversation. There's another matter requiring attention. The Lumidian council member, Talassi, made an overture suggesting council division. I need confirmation of whether this is genuine or a counterintelligence operation. Rhea's expression darkened. With all respect, Ambassador, we can't trust any council member at this point. The safest assumption is that it's a trap. Agreed, Darius nodded. But if there is legitimate fracturing among the council, it could provide critical leverage. I want you to arrange a secure meeting with Talassi. Make it appear to be a routine diplomatic exchange. And if it is a trap? Darius's enhanced eyes gleamed with cold purpose. Then we spring it deliberately and capture a council member whose biometric signature would be extremely valuable for our purposes. As Rhea departed to make arrangements, Darius received a secure update from Captain Saran. The officer's expression was grave, as his holographic form materialized in Darius's private chamber. Ambassador, Section Black has provided critical intelligence. The Council's preemptive strike isn't just planned, it's imminent. They've activated dormant security protocols that would lock out all Earth personnel from station systems within 6 hours. That accelerates our timeline considerably, Darius observed. Can you delay their security protocols? Temporarily, by creating system conflicts that require manual resolution. Perhaps 3 hours at most. Do it, Darius ordered. And Captain, now that we're operating with full transparency, is there anything else Section Black has withheld that might be relevant to our mission? Saran hesitated just long enough to confirm Darius's suspicion that more secrets remained buried. There is one additional factor, Saran finally admitted. The Apex fleet isn't just coming to secure the station. They're bringing the Genesis Protocol. Darius felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. The Genesis Protocol, Earth's most classified weapons technology, designed as the ultimate insurance against extinction. Its exact capabilities were known to only a handful of individuals, but the implications were clear. Earth was prepared to use overwhelming force. That wasn't part of the mission parameters, Darius stated flatly. Parameters have evolved based on new intelligence about Zenith Council capabilities. Saran replied. Section Black believes they've been developing similar technology. An arms race, Darius concluded, with this station as the first battlefield. Precisely, which is why securing control through your method is preferable. The Genesis Protocol is not selective in its effects. The magnitude of what Earth was planning struck Darius with full force. This wasn't just about gaining political advantage or economic leverage. Earth was positioning for absolute dominance, the complete subjugation of all other species under human authority. Was this truly what humanity had become? Had the trauma of near extinction transformed them so completely into the very predators they once feared? Darius dismissed these philosophical concerns. His mission was clear: secure the station, prevent the need for the Genesis Protocol, and establish Earth's control with minimal casualties. The moral calculations could come later, if they survived. He rejoined the main team, where final preparations were underway. Dex and Cassandra had synthesized the perception-altering compounds. Morius had mapped the optimal distribution pattern for maximum psychological impact. And Lucan had created the economic disruptions that would add to the confusion. We begin in 30 minutes, Darius announced. Synchronize your neural implants to the mission clock. Remember, our objective is control without destruction. Earth needs this station intact and operational. As the team made final preparations, Darius received confirmation that his meeting with Talassi had been arranged. Whether it was an opportunity or a trap remained to be seen. But either way, it would be another piece on the increasingly complex board. The apex predators were moving into final position. The hunt was about to reach its climax. Darius approached the diplomatic lounge where Talassi awaited. Every sense heightened to detect potential threats. The meeting had been arranged with deliberate casualness, an informal discussion between representatives that wouldn't attract undue attention. The crystalline Lumidian council member stood by the observation window, body refracting the starlight into complex patterns that Darius's enhanced vision interpreted as indicators of emotional state. Current configuration. Cautious anticipation. Ambassador Caney, Talassi acknowledged him. Thank you for making time in what must be a busy schedule. The opportunity to build understanding between our peoples is always a priority. Darius replied with practiced diplomacy. Understanding, Talassi repeated, crystalline form shifting slightly. An interesting concept. To truly understand another species requires recognizing their fundamental nature. Wouldn't you agree? I would, Darius confirmed, moving closer while maintaining optimal positioning for both defense and escape. Though I find that nature is rarely fixed, evolution ensures adaptation. Indeed. The Lumidian's form pulsed with internal light. Earth has adapted remarkably since the Third Nuclear War. From a planetary civilization on the brink of self-destruction to an interstellar power with surprising capabilities. Darius detected the subtle emphasis. Every species must evolve or perish. Humanity chose evolution. Evolution, Talassi mused. Or transformation. The distinction matters. Ambassador. The Council has observed Earth closely. Your genetic modification programs, your neural enhancement technologies, your military doctrines, all point to a species remaking itself in response to trauma. Is that concern I hear? Ambassador Talassi, Darius asked, maintaining his diplomatic demeanor while scanning for security personnel. So far, none were visible, which either meant excellent concealment or a genuine private conversation. Concern, yes, but not in the way you might assume. Talassi's crystalline form reconfigured, indicating a shift to what Darius's training identified as a more intimate communication posture. The Zenith Council has maintained galactic stability for centuries through a careful balance of power. Ambassador Vorax represents the traditional approach, hierarchical, conservative, resistant to change. And you represent an alternative viewpoint, Darius prompted. I represent reality, Talassi replied. And the reality is that Earth has already changed the equation. Your presence in the galactic community has accelerated technological development, economic competition, and military preparedness across all species. The old equilibrium cannot hold. Darius weighed his response carefully. If the old order cannot adapt to new realities, then perhaps a new order is inevitable. Precisely. Talassi moved closer, lowering the harmonic resonance of his voice to prevent long-range monitoring. There are those within the Council who recognize this inevitability. We do not fear Earth's rise. We wish to shape it, guide it toward mutual benefit rather than mutual destruction. An interesting proposition, Darius acknowledged. Though one wonders why this overture comes now, rather than months ago when Earth first requested expanded participation in Council affairs. Talassi's crystalline body emitted a harmonic pattern, indicating what Darius interpreted as rueful acknowledgement. Politics. Ambassador. The Council moves slowly, bound by tradition and consensus. Some of us have only recently gained sufficient influence to pursue alternative approaches. And what would this alternative approach entail? Darius asked, still uncertain whether this was a genuine fracture within the Council or an elaborate trap. A new coalition, Talassi explained. One where Earth holds a primary position rather than a subordinate one. Your species' adaptability, combined with Lumidian processing capabilities and Moran dimensional technologies, would create a power block capable of reforming galactic governance entirely. At the expense of Vorax and his allies, Darius noted. Change always creates casualties. Ambassador, the question is whether they are political casualties or literal ones. The implication was clear. Talassi was aware of mounting tensions and offering an alternative to open conflict. The timing was suspicious, occurring precisely when Earth's team was implementing their control strategy. Darius's neural implant signaled an incoming message from Rhea. Compound distribution initiated. Security systems compromised. Phase 1 complete. The operation had begun. Within minutes, strategic sections of the station would descend into carefully orchestrated confusion as the perception-altering compounds took effect. Your offer is compelling, Ambassador Talassi, Darius responded, making a calculated decision. Earth would certainly prefer cooperation to conflict. Perhaps we should continue this discussion in a more private setting. My team has prepared a secure conference room in the Earth sector. If Talassi was sincere, bringing the council member into Earth-controlled territory during the operation could secure a valuable ally. If it was a trap, they would have captured a council member whose biometric signature was needed for station control. A reasonable suggestion, Talassi agreed. Though, given recent security concerns, perhaps we should invite a neutral third party to observe our discussions. The Moran delegate has expressed interest in improved relations with Earth. The counter-proposal was clever. The Moran delegate, now dependent on Earth's medical treatments, would provide Talassi with a witness who appeared neutral but had reason to support Earth. An excellent amendment, Darius conceded. Shall we proceed? As they moved toward the exit, the station's alert system suddenly activated. Emergency lights pulsed red throughout the corridor, and the automated system announced, "Attention all personnel. Security breach detected in sectors 7 through 12. Unknown contaminant in environmental systems. Emergency protocols activated. All personnel proceed to designated safe zones. Repeat, emergency protocols activated." Talassi's crystalline form flashed with patterns indicating alarm. "This is unexpected." "Indeed," Darius replied with carefully modulated concern. "We should perhaps postpone our discussion until station security has resolved the situation." "Yes," Talassi agreed, body oscillating between frequency patterns that Darius recognized as suspicion and calculation. "Though I find the timing remarkable." Before Darius could respond, his neural implant delivered another update from Rhea. "Ambassador, we have a critical situation. The compounds are producing stronger reactions than anticipated. Security forces in Sector 9 are experiencing extreme paranoia and have begun firing on maintenance personnel. Casualties reported. The operation was exceeding parameters. What had been designed as a non-lethal takeover was escalating toward violence. Darius needed to regain control of the situation quickly. "Ambassador Talassi," he said with genuine urgency, "I believe the situation may be more serious than a routine security alert. The Earth delegation has advanced medical capabilities that might assist. Would you accompany me to coordinate a response?" Talassi's crystalline structure vibrated at frequencies indicating deep suspicion. How convenient that Earth has preparations for this exact scenario. Ambassador Caney. The diplomatic facade was crumbling. Darius could see Talassi making the connections, realizing Earth's involvement in the escalating chaos. "Not preparations," Darius corrected, abandoning pretense. "Adaptations. Humanity's specialty." Talassi's form shifted into a defensive configuration, internal structures realigning to channel energy. "You've initiated a station takeover." "We've initiated a paradigm shift," Darius countered. "One that could include the Lumidian Collective as partners, rather than casualties. Your earlier proposal suggested you understand the inevitable direction of galactic politics. I understand that Earth has revealed its true nature, Talassi responded, crystalline body now pulsing with energy patterns that Darius's systems identified as pre-attack configurations. You didn't come as diplomats at all. Darius's hand moved subtly toward the concealed weapon in his suit. No, we came as what we are, apex predators who survived extinction and vowed never to face it again. The moment hung between them, a precipice between negotiation and violence. Then, station-wide alarms escalated to maximum alert status, and Ambassador Vorax's voice overrode all communication channels. Attention all station personnel. This is not a drill. Earth forces have attempted sabotage of critical systems. All security personnel implement Containment Protocol 7. All diplomatic personnel are ordered to emergency shelters. The Zenith Council is assuming emergency control of all station functions. Talassi's crystalline form pulsed, with what Darius recognized as grim satisfaction. It seems Ambassador Vorax was correct about Earth's intentions all along. Intentions can be misinterpreted, Darius replied smoothly. But capacity is undeniable. The question now is whether the Lumidian Collective wishes to stand with the old order as it falls, or help shape what rises in its place. As they stood in this momentary impasse, Darius received the most critical update yet from Captain Saran. Apex Fleet has accelerated arrival. ETA now 3 hours. Genesis Protocol armed for deployment. The endgame had begun far sooner than anticipated. Darius had mere hours to secure the station before Earth unleashed a weapon that would render diplomacy, and possibly much of the station population, irrelevant. The confrontation with Talassi would have to reach resolution. One way or another, Earth's apex predators had shed their diplomatic disguises. Now, they would show the galaxy what humanity had truly become. Chaos erupted throughout the Orium Nexus as the perception-altering compounds spread beyond their intended targets. Security forces in affected sectors fired on shadows. Diplomats barricaded themselves in their quarters, and emergency systems triggered lockdowns that further compartmentalized the station. In the midst of this calculated disorder, Darius maintained his standoff with Talassi. The crystalline council member's body pulsed with energy patterns, indicating combat readiness. You should know, Ambassador Caney, that Lumidians cannot be affected by your chemical agents, Talassi stated, internal structures realigning to channel power. Our crystalline physiology filters all foreign substances. An impressive adaptation, Darius acknowledged, though perhaps not as impressive as humanity's ability to transform near extinction into galactic ascendance within a single century. As he spoke, Darius's neural implant connected him to the team's unified tactical network. Through this link, he could perceive the station's status in real time, Ria's security operations, Lucan's economic disruptions, Morius's psychological manipulation strategies, all executing simultaneously. Your species confuses adaptation with aggression, Talassi countered. A common error among evolutionary adolescents. Perhaps, Darius conceded. Or perhaps we've simply recognized what more established species prefer to deny, that the cosmos rewards strength above all else. Their philosophical debate was interrupted by a station-wide power fluctuation. The lights dimmed momentarily before emergency systems engaged. Darius's implant reported that Dex and Cassandra had successfully compromised the primary power regulation systems. Phase 2 complete, Ria's voice reported through the neural link. Environmental controls secured in 17 sectors. Biometric override in progress. Talassi's crystalline form vibrated in patterns, indicating alarm. You're seizing critical systems. We're securing them, Darius corrected. Earth has no intention of destroying the station or harming its population unnecessarily. We seek control, not annihilation. A distinction without difference to those who lose their autonomy, Talassi responded. The Lumidian's body suddenly emitted a brilliant pulse of energy, a communication signal that Darius's systems couldn't interpret. "Calling for reinforcements?" Darius asked, hand moving closer to his concealed weapon. "Implementing contingencies," Talassi replied. "The Council is not unprepared for takeover attempts. Ambassador, perhaps your intelligence failed to discover our defensive protocols." Through his neural link, Darius detected a new development. Previously dormant systems throughout the station were activating. Independent security measures designed specifically to counter unauthorized control. "Ambassador!" Saran's voice came urgently through the neural link. "Automated defense systems are deploying throughout the station. They appear to target command interfaces, precisely the systems we're attempting to secure." The situation was escalating beyond their calculated parameters. Darius made an immediate tactical decision. "Ambassador Talassi," he said with calm authority, "we appear to be at an inflection point. You activated automated defenses that will inevitably cause civilian casualties in their attempt to regain control. This escalation forces my hand." With practiced efficiency, Darius retrieved not a weapon, but a small device from his suit. This transmitter is now broadcasting a signal to every Earth operative on this station. It also communicates directly with the approaching Earth fleet. Talassi's crystalline form shifted to a configuration indicating heightened alert. "A bluff, Ambassador. Your fleet couldn't possibly arrive for hours yet." "The visible fleet, yes," Darius acknowledged. "But you've underestimated Earth's paranoia. We've had stealth vessels positioned near the station for months, dormant, waiting for exactly this scenario." The claim was a calculated deception. No such vessels existed, but the approaching Apex fleet had indeed accelerated its arrival through methods Darius himself wasn't fully briefed on. "Even if true," Talassi countered, "Zenith Council security protocols would detect any approaching vessels. Under normal circumstances, certainly, but your security systems are currently rather preoccupied." Darius gestured toward the emergency lights still flashing throughout the corridor. "Now, I offer one final opportunity for a negotiated transition. The Lumidian Collective could maintain significant autonomy under Earth administration." Talassi's crystalline body emitted a harmonic pattern that translated roughly as bitter amusement. "You speak of negotiation while holding a proverbial gun to our heads. This reveals everything about Earth's true nature." "It reveals that we're efficient," Darius corrected. "Earth spent decades in diplomatic subservience, requesting fair treatment and equal representation. The Council consistently denied us. So, yes, we adapted our approach." Their standoff was interrupted by a priority alert through Darius's neural implant. Captain Saran reporting directly. "Ambassador, critical situation. The automated defenses are more sophisticated than anticipated. They're systematically reclaiming station systems and targeting Earth personnel. Casualties reported in Sectors 3 and 5. The operation was deteriorating rapidly. Without control of key systems before the Apex fleet's arrival, the Genesis protocol might be deployed, with catastrophic consequences for all life on the station." Darius made a final calculation. "Ambassador Talassi, time has run out for philosophical debate. Your biometric signature can override the automated defenses and prevent further casualties. Provide it willingly, and the Lumidian Collective will be granted protected status under Earth administration." "And if I refuse?" Talassi asked, though the crystalline being's energy patterns suggested he already knew the answer. "Then I take it by force," Darius stated simply. "And the Lumidian Collective receives no special consideration in the new galactic order." As they reached this final impasse, the station shuddered violently. Emergency klaxons blared at maximum intensity, and a computerized voice announced, "Critical breach detected in outer hull, Sector 16. Containment fields activated. Emergency evacuation protocols engaged." Darius received simultaneous reports from his team through the neural network. "Rhea, unknown explosion in Sector 16. Not part of our operation. Lucan. Station economy in freefall. All trading suspended. Morius. Mass panic spreading beyond controlled sectors. Dex. Atmospheric contamination from unknown source. Readings suggest weapons-grade chemical agents. Cassandra. Medical systems overwhelmed. Multiple species reporting severe reactions. The situation had moved beyond their control. Someone else had introduced a new variable, a direct attack on the station itself. "This isn't our doing," Darius told Talassi, genuine concern evident in his voice. "Earth wants this station intact." Talassi's crystalline form pulsed with urgent frequencies. A third faction. There have been rumors of extremist elements, species who believe the current galactic order is irredeemably corrupt. The station shuddered again as another explosion rocked a different sector. Structural integrity warnings flashed through Darius's neural interface. In this moment of genuine crisis, Darius made a decision that would redefine the mission. Ambassador Talassi, regardless of our political differences, neither of us wants this station destroyed. I propose an immediate truce to address this new threat. Talassi's crystalline structure vibrated with frequencies indicating rapid calculation. Agreed, but only if Earth forces cease all takeover operations immediately. Darius activated his command override, broadcasting to all Earth personnel. All units, stand down from Operation Apex Ascendancy. New priority, Station Preservation Protocol. Coordinate with local security to contain external threat. Simultaneously, he sent an encoded transmission to the approaching Apex fleet. Station under attack by unknown third party. Genesis Protocol hold. Repeat. Genesis Protocol hold. Requesting defensive support only. As alarms continued to blare throughout the station, Darius and Talassi moved with urgent purpose toward the emergency command center. The political game had been superseded by immediate survival, a scenario that humanity had faced before. In crisis, predators sometimes form temporary alliances. The hunt for dominance would resume once the mutual threat was eliminated. That was the way of evolution. Adaptation to immediate conditions while never losing sight of the ultimate goal. The apex predators would show their true nature, not just in their hunger for power, but in their capacity to survive against all odds. That, more than anything, was humanity's defining characteristic. The emergency command center of Orium Nexus teemed with frantic activity as representatives from various species worked to contain the escalating crisis. Structural integrity warnings flashed across holographic displays, while security teams reported multiple breaches throughout the station. Darius and Talassi entered together, their temporary alliance drawing surprised glances from both Earth personnel and Council security. Ambassador Vorax, the Draconis Council member, towered over a central command console. His scales darkened with anger as he noticed their arrival. Talassi, explain your association with the Earth Ambassador while their forces attempt to seize our station. Circumstances have changed, Vorax, Talassi replied, crystalline form pulsing with urgent patterns. We face an external threat that endangers all life aboard this station. Temporary cooperation is logical. Cooperation with the architects of our current crisis? Vorax's subharmonic frequencies conveyed deep skepticism. Earth did not initiate these hull breaches, Darius stated firmly. Our operation was designed to secure control, not cause destruction. This station has significant value to Earth intact. Before Vorax could respond, the command center's primary screen activated with an incoming transmission. The image resolved to show a hooded figure, species indeterminate, due to environmental armor that concealed all identifying features. Representatives of the failed galactic order, the figure spoke, voice digitally modulated to prevent identification. The Purity Convergence has determined that the corruption at the heart of interstellar governance cannot be reformed. It must be purged. Purity Convergence, Vorax repeated, recognition evident in his subharmonics. a radical splinter faction composed of multiple species. They believe technological and genetic advancement has corrupted the natural order. The hooded figure continued. For centuries, the Zenith Council has guided species toward unnatural evolution. And now Earth, the most grotesque example of self-mutation, seeks to spread its corruption throughout the galaxy. Neither can be permitted to continue. "You've attacked a diplomatic station housing thousands of innocent civilians," Darius responded, stepping forward. "Whatever your political grievances, this approach invalidates your moral standing." "Morality is defined by natural law," the figure countered. "The Orium Nexus represents everything that violates that law. Species mixing beyond their evolutionary paths, genetic modifications, technological dependencies. Its destruction will return balance." Talassi moved to stand beside Darius. "Your logic is flawed. Evolution itself is adaptive change in response to environmental pressures. There is no fixed, natural order, only constant transformation. A convenient philosophy for a species that replaced organic components with crystalline structures," the figure replied dismissively. "You have 10 hours to evacuate essential personnel. After that, the Nexus will be cleansed. Any vessels attempting to approach the station will be destroyed." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the command center in momentary silence before erupting into chaotic discussion. Darius immediately connected with his team through their neural network. "Status report." Rhea responded first. "We've identified 27 distinct explosion sites throughout the station. Pattern analysis suggests they're targeting structural support systems rather than population centers. They want the station destroyed, not its inhabitants killed directly," Darius concluded. "That aligns with their ideology," Morius added. "The Purity Convergence believes in natural selection rather than direct intervention. They see themselves as simply removing artificial supports." Lucan's analysis followed. "Based on the damage pattern and station architecture, I estimate complete structural failure in approximately 12 hours, 2 hours after their stated deadline." "They're allowing for evacuation," Darius noted. "They want to destroy the symbol, not necessarily commit mass murder." "Unless that's what they want us to believe," Cassandra countered. "Our biometric scans detect unusual patterns in the atmospheric composition near the breach sites. There may be more to their attack than physical destruction." Captain Saran provided the military assessment. "Apex fleet arrival in 90 minutes. However, if the Convergence has anti-ship capabilities as claimed, a direct approach could be hazardous." Ambassador Vorax interrupted their strategic planning. "Earth forces will stand down immediately and surrender control of all station systems they've compromised. This crisis demands unified command." Darius faced the Draconis Council member directly. "With respect, Ambassador, the situation has evolved beyond political posturing. Earth forces have already ceased offensive operations and are working to contain the damage. My specialists have expertise that could be crucial to station preservation." "Expertise in station takeover. Perhaps," Vorax replied, subharmonics conveying deep suspicion. Talassi intervened. Crystalline form pulsing with authoritative patterns. "Vorax, pragmatism must supersede protocol. Earth's forces are already integrated into critical systems. Attempting to remove them now would cause further disruption we cannot afford." The logic was irrefutable, even to the tradition-bound Draconis. Vorax's scales shifted color slightly, a sign of reluctant acquiescence in his species. "Very well. A temporary joint operation. Earth personnel will coordinate with Council security under shared command." It was more than Darius had expected, a legitimate opening for cooperation rather than mere cessation of hostilities. He recognized the strategic opportunity immediately. "Agreed," he stated firmly. "I propose we establish joint teams focusing on 3 priorities: structural reinforcement, threat neutralization, and evacuation preparation." As they organized the joint response, Darius maintained constant communication with his team through their neural network. Each member had been assigned to a specific aspect of the crisis. Rhea integrated with station security to track convergence operatives believed to still be aboard. Lucan worked with station engineers to predict structural failure points and prioritize reinforcement. Morius analyzed convergence communications for psychological insights that might reveal their true intentions. Dex and Cassandra investigated the unusual atmospheric readings near breach sites, suspecting biological or chemical agents. Captain Saran coordinated with the approaching Apex fleet, instructing them to maintain distance while preparing defensive countermeasures against potential convergence vessels. As the joint teams deployed throughout the station, Darius found himself working directly alongside Talassi and Vorax in the command center. 3 apex predators of different species, temporarily united against a common threat. The convergence vessels must have used some form of advanced cloaking technology, Vorax observed, reviewing sensor data. No approach was detected before the initial explosions. Or they were already here, Darius suggested. Sleeper agents embedded within the station population, activated only when needed. Talassi's crystalline form pulsed with patterns indicating agreement. A logical approach. The Nexus processes thousands of visitors daily. Convergence operatives could have infiltrated months ago, bringing components for explosive devices in separate shipments. Their tactical discussion was interrupted by an urgent report from Dex and Cassandra. Command, we've identified the atmospheric anomaly. It's a binary nanopathogen, currently inert, but designed to activate upon mixing with a catalyst. Analysis suggests it would target communication between synthetic and organic tissues. The implication was immediately clear to all 3 leaders. Most advanced species, including humans, Draconis, and Lumidians, utilized various forms of synthetic-organic integration, neural implants, cybernetic enhancements, or, in the Lumidians' case, their entire crystalline physiology. They're not just destroying the station, Vorax realized, scales paling. They're targeting evolved species directly. A purification in the most literal sense. Talassi agreed, crystalline structure vibrating with concern frequencies. If activated, this pathogen would essentially sever the connection between biological and synthetic components in affected individuals. For humans with neural implants, that would mean brain damage or death, Darius added grimly. For Lumidians, complete physiological breakdown. The crisis had escalated beyond a symbolic attack on the station. The Purity Convergence intended to eliminate what they viewed as unnatural evolution itself, starting with the representatives gathered at Orium Nexus. We need to neutralize this pathogen before evacuation, Darius stated. Otherwise, we'd simply be transporting the contagion to our homeworlds. As they processed this existential threat, Captain Saran reported a new development. Ambassador, Apex Fleet has detected multiple vessels approaching the station from concealed positions near the gas giant. Configuration unknown, but energy signatures suggest weapons powered and targeting systems active. The Purity Convergence was moving to ensure no one escaped their purification. The station was rapidly becoming a trap, with time running out before either structural collapse or pathogen activation ended all possibility of survival. In this moment of ultimate crisis, Darius made a decision that would forever alter the course of galactic politics. Ambassador Vorax, Ambassador Talassi, I am authorized to offer Earth's most advanced defensive and medical technologies to address this threat, without restriction. Both council members recognized the monumental nature of this offer. Earth had jealously guarded its technological advancements, particularly those developed during its rapid post-war evolution. What do you propose, Ambassador Caney? Talassi asked, crystalline form pulsing with cautious interest. A complete integration of our capabilities, Darius replied. Earth's Apex Fleet carries countermeasures that could neutralize both the approaching vessels and the pathogen, but deployment would require Council authorization to override station security protocols. Vorax's scales shifted through complex color patterns, indicating intense internal debate. You ask us to grant Earth forces unrestricted access to all station systems, the very objective of your original operation. Yes, Darius acknowledged without pretense. But now, with the transparent purpose of saving all life aboard this station, regardless of species or political affiliation. It was the ultimate gambit, using the crisis to achieve Earth's original objective, but transforming it from conquest to salvation. The Predator adapting its approach while maintaining its goal. After a moment of tense silence, Talassi's crystalline form emitted a harmonic pattern indicating acceptance. The Lumidian collective agrees. Survival must take precedence over political consideration. All eyes turned to Vorax. The Draconis Council members' ancestral instincts warred visibly with pragmatic necessity. Finally, his scales settled into a pattern of resignation. The Zenith Council authorizes temporary integration of Earth defensive systems with station controls, he declared formally. This authorization expires immediately upon neutralization of the current threat. It was enough. Darius activated his command override, transmitting to all Earth personnel. Implement Salvation Protocol. Authorization Caney Alpha 07. Full integration with station systems authorized by Zenith Council. To the Apex Fleet, he sent a more specific directive. Deploy Nexus Shield and pathogen neutralizers. Convergence vessels approaching station. Engage and eliminate. As these commands propagated through human and station networks, Darius turned back to the council members. What happens after this crisis will determine the future of galactic civilization. Earth came here seeking dominance. Yes, but perhaps there is a path to partnership instead. Partnership requires trust, Vorax observed, subharmonic skeptical. Your methods have not inspired confidence. Nor have the Council's centuries of maintaining Earth's subordinate status, Darius countered. But shared survival creates possibilities that didn't exist before. As station systems began integrating with Earth technologies, and the Apex Fleet moved to engage the convergence vessels, the three representatives of the galaxy's most powerful factions stood together in uneasy alliance. Predators recognizing other predators, temporarily hunting as a pack rather than against each other. The Orium Nexus shuddered as another explosion rocked its lower levels. Time was running out. The next few hours would determine not just their personal survival, but the shape of galactic civilization for centuries to come. And in that crucible of crisis, humanity's true nature would be revealed, not just as apex predators, but as potential partners in a far more complex ecosystem than they had initially recognized. The battle for the Orium Nexus unfolded across multiple fronts simultaneously. As the Purity Convergence vessels emerged from hiding, the Earth Apex Fleet engaged them with technologies that shocked even the Zenith Council observers. Holographic displays in the command center showed Earth vessels deploying what appeared to be targeted singularity weapons, creating micro-black holes that existed for milliseconds, just long enough to disrupt enemy ship systems without causing catastrophic damage to nearby space. Gravitational manipulation technology, Vorax observed, unable to hide his astonishment. Earth has mastered this while maintaining the appearance of technological inferiority. Adaptation requires deception, Darius replied simply. Prey that appears weaker than it is survives longer. Inside the station, Earth and Council forces worked with unprecedented coordination to address multiple existential threats. Structural integrity teams reinforced critical support systems. Security forces hunted remaining convergence operatives, and scientific specialists focused on neutralizing the binary nanopathogen before it could activate. Darius received continuous updates through his neural network. Rhea. 3 convergence operatives neutralized in Sector 12. Evidence suggests more remain active. Lucan. Structural reinforcement at 40% effectiveness. Estimated station integrity now extended to 18 hours. Dex and Cassandra. Pathogen analysis complete. Earth counteragents being synthesized and distributed through environmental systems. Morius. Psychological profile of convergence communications indicates genuine religious belief rather than political motivation. They truly believe they're saving the galaxy from evolutionary corruption. Captain Saran provided the most critical update. Apex Fleet has neutralized 8 convergence vessels, 3 more detected on approach. Fleet Commander requests deployment authorization for Genesis Protocol against remaining targets. The request gave Darius pause. The Genesis Protocol, Earth's most classified weapons technology, had been designed as the ultimate insurance against extinction. Its deployment, even in a limited capacity, would reveal capabilities Earth had intended to keep hidden until absolutely necessary. Negative on Genesis Protocol, Darius responded. Standard countermeasures only. Maintain current engagement parameters. As he made this decision, the command center's sensors detected a new development, a massive energy surge from one of the approaching convergence vessels. They're preparing to deploy their primary weapon, Talassi warned, crystalline form pulsing with urgent frequencies. Energy signature suggests quantum destabilization technology. Target? Darius asked sharply. The station's primary reactor, Vorax answered, scales paling. A direct hit would trigger catastrophic failure. No evacuation would be possible. The moment of truth had arrived sooner than anticipated. Darius had seconds to decide whether to reveal Earth's ultimate capability or risk the deaths of everyone aboard the station, including his own team. Captain Saran, he transmitted through their secure channel. Authorization for limited Genesis deployment. Target the lead convergence vessel only. Minimal yield. Maximum precision. On the command center's main display, they watched as one of the Earth vessels separated from the main fleet, positioning itself between the station and the approaching convergence ships. A moment of apparent inactivity followed, and then, nothing visible happened at all. Yet the lead convergence vessel simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris field, no radiation signature. One moment it existed, the next, it was gone as though it had never been there. Complete silence fell over the command center as representatives of dozens of species processed what they had just witnessed. The remaining convergence vessels immediately altered course, accelerating away from the station at maximum speed. What did we just observe? Vorax finally asked, subharmonics conveying stunned disbelief. Selective existence manipulation, Darius answered, seeing no reason for further deception. The Genesis Protocol doesn't destroy targets in conventional terms. It alters probability fields to create a localized reality where the target never existed. Impossible, Talassi responded, crystalline structure vibrating with frequencies, indicating profound shock. Such technology violates fundamental universal constants. As I said earlier, Ambassador, Earth adapted in ways none anticipated after our near extinction, Darius stated calmly. We pursued paths others considered impossible because our survival depended on it. The implications of this revelation rippled through the command center. Earth hadn't just developed advanced weapons. They had fundamentally altered their understanding of reality itself, creating technology that operated beyond conventional physical laws. The strategic balance of the entire galaxy had shifted in that single moment. Every species represented in that command center now understood that Earth possessed capabilities that rendered traditional defenses meaningless. You understand now why Earth could no longer accept subordinate status, Darius said into the stunned silence. We developed these capabilities not for conquest, but to ensure humanity would never again face extinction. Yet the Council continued to treat us as technological inferiors, denying us equal representation. Vorax's scales had shifted to a deep blue, a color indicating profound reconsideration in his species. The Council's assessment of Earth was significantly flawed, as was Earth's approach to rectifying that error, Talassi added, crystalline form pulsing, with frequencies that Darius recognized as cautious reconciliation. Both sides have operated from incomplete understanding. Before they could continue this pivotal conversation, alarms blared throughout the command center. A holographic display showed critical systems throughout the station activating simultaneously. The Convergence had a contingency plan. Rhea reported urgently through the neural network. Remote activation of the binary pathogen. Catalyst is being introduced through the environmental systems. Darius turned to the council members. We have minutes before the pathogen activates. Earth's countermeasures need full integration with station environmental controls. Without hesitation, both council members pressed their biological identifiers to the command console, granting unrestricted access to all station systems. The hierarchy that had defined galactic politics for centuries dissolved in the face of imminent extinction. Full authorization granted, Vorax declared. Save our people. Ambassador Caney. Darius transmitted the command through his neural implant. All Earth personnel, implement Lazarus Protocol. Full environmental integration authorized. Throughout the station, Earth operatives who had been strategically positioned for the original takeover now revealed their true capabilities. Hidden technologies activated, interfaces merged with station systems, and a previously concealed network came online. A secondary system Earth had been building within the Orium Nexus for years. In the medical sector, Dex and Cassandra unleashed Earth's most advanced biocountermeasures, microscopic agents that sought and neutralized the Convergence pathogen before it could activate. The technology represented decades of post-war advancement in human biological engineering, developed specifically to counter extinction-level threats. Pathogen neutralization at 30%. Cassandra reported, spreading through all affected sectors. Estimated time to complete neutralization? Darius asked. 17 minutes, Dex replied. But the catalyst is still being introduced. We need to shut down the delivery system. Rhea's security team, now fully integrated with council forces, traced the catalyst delivery to automated systems hidden throughout the station. Convergence operatives installed the delivery mechanisms disguised as routine maintenance upgrades. They're hardwired into primary environmental controls. Can we shut them down? Darius asked. Not without disabling life support for entire sectors, Lucan warned. They've integrated their systems too deeply. The situation demanded yet another revelation of Earth's hidden capabilities. Darius made the decision instantly. Deploy the nanite swarm. Throughout the station, Earth operatives activated devices that released microscopic machines, a technology officially banned by Council directive centuries ago. These self-replicating nanites could distinguish between legitimate station systems and foreign installations, targeting only the catalyst delivery mechanisms while leaving critical systems intact. In the command center, Vorax and Talassi watched in astonishment as holographic displays showed the nanite swarm spreading throughout environmental systems, systematically disabling convergence technology without affecting station operations. Self-directed artificial intelligence in machine form, Talassi observed, crystalline structure vibrating with a mixture of awe and concern. The Council banned this technology after the machine uprising in the Rigel sector. Earth never signed that prohibition, Darius noted. And we developed safeguards that address the failures of previous iterations. These nanites cannot replicate beyond predetermined limits and will self-terminate after completing their programmed objective. As Earth's combined technologies neutralized both the pathogen and its delivery system, the immediate crisis began to subside. Station integrity stabilized. The remaining convergence vessels retreated to safe distances, and casualty reports indicated far fewer deaths than initially feared. In this moment of relative calm, the three representatives of galactic power, human, Draconis, and Lumidian, faced the inescapable reality that everything had changed. The balance that had defined interstellar politics for centuries had been irrevocably altered. Earth came to this station prepared for a takeover, Vorax stated. Not as an accusation, but as acknowledgement of fact. Yet, when a greater threat emerged, you redirected those same resources toward preservation of all species. Survival is the ultimate directive, Darius replied. Earth learned through near extinction that isolated power is meaningless. The galaxy functions as an ecosystem, complex, interdependent, stronger in its diversity than in homogeneity. Thalasi's crystalline form shifted to a configuration indicating philosophical contemplation. Yet your methods have demonstrated predatory calculation. The tools you deployed today were positioned long before the convergence threat materialized. Yes, Darius acknowledged without pretense. Earth came as predators, prepared to take by force what was denied through diplomacy. We make no apology for this adaptation. It ensured our survival when diplomacy failed. And now, Vorax asked, subharmonics conveying genuine uncertainty, a rare quality in a Draconis Council member. What does Earth seek now that its capabilities are revealed? It was the pivotal question, one that would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy moving forward. Darius considered his response carefully, knowing that Admiral Voss and Earth Command would expect him to press their advantage for maximum concession. Instead, he chose a different path. Earth seeks partnership, he stated, surprising even himself with the realization that he meant it. Not domination, not subservience. Genuine partnership based on mutual respect and recognition of complementary strengths. His neural implant signaled incoming communication from Admiral Voss. Her holographic image appeared visible only to him through his enhanced vision. Ambassador Caney, sensors indicate the crisis has been contained. The Apex fleet stands ready to implement full Genesis protocol against all non-Earth vessels, awaiting your command to proceed with original mission parameters. The Admiral's directive was clear. Use this moment of vulnerability to complete Earth's takeover, establishing complete dominance, while the Council and other species were still reeling from both the convergence attack and the revelation of Earth's capabilities. It was the culmination of Operation Apex Ascendancy, the moment when humanity would claim its position as the galaxy's apex predator. Everything had been planned for this precise outcome. Darius made his decision. Admiral Voss, the parameters have changed. The convergence threat has created an opportunity for a different approach. I am negotiating a partnership agreement that will grant Earth equal Council status without requiring Genesis deployment. The Admiral's expression hardened. That was not your mission. Ambassador, Earth Command expects full implementation of Dominance Protocol. Respectfully, Admiral, dominance is a short-term strategy. Partnership offers long-term stability. I believe this approach better serves Earth's ultimate objective of ensuring human survival. You exceed your authority, Ambassador Caney. Perhaps, he acknowledged. But I am the one standing in this command center, witnessing firsthand what cooperation has accomplished today. Sometimes, the Predator's greatest adaptation is recognizing when not to strike. Admiral Voss's expression revealed her struggle between military doctrine and strategic pragmatism. Finally, she nodded slightly. You have provisional authorization to pursue partnership negotiations. The fleet will maintain position but stand down from Genesis preparation. You have 12 hours to secure terms that grant Earth full Council status, with unrestricted technological development rights. As the Admiral's image faded, Darius turned back to Vorax and Thalasi. Earth proposes the following: a reconstructed Council with humanity as equal partners, mutual technological exchange under appropriate safeguards, and joint response protocols for threats like the convergence. The two Council members exchanged glances, communicating in their species-specific ways. Finally, Vorax spoke, his subharmonics conveying formal authority. The Zenith Council recognizes that the galaxy has entered a new era. Earth's capabilities cannot be denied, nor can the effectiveness of our cooperation today. We agree in principle to restructuring galactic governance to include humanity as equal partners. It was a diplomatic victory beyond what Earth Command had believed possible without force, achieved not through conquest, but through demonstration of both power and restraint. As the three representatives began outlining the framework for this new interstellar partnership, Darius received updates from his team. Rhea. Station security fully stabilized. Joint Human Council forces have apprehended all remaining convergence operatives. Lucan. Economic systems recovering. Market algorithms predicting strong, positive response to news of Council restructuring. Morius. Psychological analysis of various species representatives indicates cautious optimism about Earth's integration. Fear responses significantly lower than projected. Dex and Cassandra. Pathogen completely neutralized. Nanite swarm has achieved 98% objective completion and begun self-termination sequence. Captain Saran transmitted the most surprising report. Ambassador, I've been authorized to inform you that Section Black approves your deviation from original mission parameters. Internal analysis suggests partnership approach yields 87% higher long-term survival probability for humanity than dominance model. It seemed even Earth's most secretive intelligence division had recognized the value of adaptation over simple predation. As the immediate crisis response transitioned to recovery operations, Darius took a moment to step away from the command center. He found himself once again at the observation window, gazing at the gas giant below. Its swirling storms continued their eternal dance, indifferent to the momentous changes occurring in the station above. Rhea joined him, her expression revealing her mixed emotions about the mission's unexpected outcome. Not exactly according to plan, she observed. Plans rarely survive contact with reality, Darius replied. The true test of evolution isn't adherence to predetermined patterns, but adaptation to changing circumstances. Earth Command may not share your philosophical perspective, she warned. They expected dominance, not partnership. They'll adapt, Darius stated with confidence. That's what we do. Humanity survived extinction by becoming predators when necessary. Perhaps our next evolutionary step is learning when to be something more. Rhea considered this, then nodded slightly. The apex predator that chooses cooperation gains allies rather than simply eliminating competition. Precisely. In the end, the most successful species isn't the one that hunts most effectively, but the one that creates the most stable ecosystem for its continued survival. As they stood watching the gas giant storms, Darius reflected on humanity's journey. From near extinction, after the Third Nuclear War, to this pivotal moment of galactic recognition, Earth had transformed itself fundamentally. They had indeed come as apex predators in suits, prepared to take by force what had been denied by diplomacy. Yet, when circumstances changed, they had adapted again, revealing their predatory capabilities while demonstrating the capacity for cooperation. Perhaps that was humanity's ultimate evolutionary advantage, the ability to be both predator and partner as circumstances required. The expansion session reconvened 3 days later in the Grand Council chamber. Representatives from all species gathered to witness the historic reconfiguration of galactic governance. The circular arrangement of delegation pods had been redesigned, the hierarchical positioning replaced by an egalitarian layout, where all major species occupied equivalent positions. Darius stood at the central platform alongside Vorax and Talassi. Together, they addressed the assembled delegates. Representatives of the galactic community, Vorax began, his subharmonics projecting formal authority. Recent events have demonstrated that our previous model of governance no longer serves the realities of our shared existence. The purity convergence threat revealed both vulnerabilities in our systems and unexpected strengths in our capacity for cooperation. Talassi continued, crystalline form, pulsing with harmonics designed to resonate with multiple species' perceptual systems. The Zenith Council proposes a fundamental restructuring, expanding from 3 primary members to 4, with Earth joining the Draconis, Lumidian, and Miran representatives in equal partnership. Murmurs spread throughout the chamber as delegates processed this unprecedented change. For centuries, the triumvirate structure had been considered immutable, the foundation of galactic stability. Darius stepped forward to address the assembly. Earth accepts this responsibility with full recognition of both its privileges and obligations. Humanity has evolved rapidly since our near extinction, developing capabilities that some might find concerning. Today, we pledge transparency about these developments within appropriate security parameters. He paused, surveying the representatives of dozens of species, watching with varying degrees of trepidation and interest. Earth did not come to this station as traditional diplomats. We came prepared to assert our position through whatever means necessary. This is the truth that many of you suspected, but could not confirm. The admission created another wave of murmurs throughout the chamber. Darius continued, his enhanced voice carrying to every delegation. Yet, when faced with a common threat, we demonstrated that humanity's adaptability serves not only our interests, but the collective welfare of all species. Earth pledges to apply this same adaptability to our new role in galactic governance. Ambassador Vorax raised his scaled hand, signaling for attention. The floor is now open for questions and statements from all delegations regarding this proposed restructuring. For the next several hours, representatives from various species expressed concerns, sought clarifications, and offered conditional support for the new arrangement. Throughout the proceedings, Darius noted with satisfaction that the majority seemed to recognize the inevitable reality. Earth had demonstrated capabilities that could not be denied or contained. Better to incorporate humanity into existing structures than force them to operate outside established systems. By the session's conclusion, the expanded council had been formally ratified by an overwhelming majority of delegations. A new era of galactic governance had begun, one where humanity held equal standing with the most advanced species in known space. As the session adjourned, Darius received a final communication from Admiral Voss. Her holographic image appeared, with an expression that mixed satisfaction with lingering concern. Ambassador Caney, Earth Command has reviewed the terms of the partnership agreement. They are acceptable, if not exactly what was envisioned. The Apex fleet will maintain position near the Orium Nexus for the foreseeable future as a precautionary measure. A reasonable security protocol, Darius acknowledged. Though I believe we've demonstrated that cooperation can achieve objectives that force cannot. Perhaps, the Admiral conceded reluctantly. But never forget what we became after the Third Nuclear War. Ambassador, humanity survived because we embraced our nature as apex predators. This partnership approach may serve our current interests, but we must never lose the capacity to hunt when necessary. I assure you, Admiral, that capacity remains intact, Darius replied. But the truly successful predator knows when hunting is counterproductive, when cooperation with other apex species creates a more stable environment for all. After the Admiral's image faded, Darius rejoined his team for a final briefing before most would return to Earth. Each member would play a crucial role in implementing different aspects of the new partnership agreement. Earth Command has officially redesignated our mission, he informed them. Operation Apex Ascendancy has been reclassified as Operation Adaptive Integration. Our objective remains securing humanity's position in galactic affairs, but through partnership rather than dominance. A significant philosophical shift, Morius observed, though I suspect many in Earth Command still prefer the original approach. They'll adapt, Darius stated with certainty. Just as we all have, the mission parameters changed, and we adjusted our strategy accordingly. That's what makes humanity successful, not just our predatory capabilities, but our adaptive flexibility. As the team prepared for their new assignments, Captain Saran approached Darius privately. Ambassador, Section Black has authorized me to share something with you. The Purity Convergence attack, while genuine, was detected by our intelligence networks days before it occurred. Earth Command could have warned the Council, but chose to allow the attack to proceed. To create the crisis that would justify our intervention, Darius concluded. Unsurprised by this revelation, Earth's strategic calculations had always operated on multiple levels. Yes, Saran confirmed. What they didn't anticipate was your decision to pursue partnership rather than dominance when the opportunity for the latter clearly existed. And now they're reassessing fundamental assumptions about optimal survival strategies. Your approach has introduced variables that weren't fully considered in previous models. Darius nodded thoughtfully. Evolution isn't just physical adaptation, it's conceptual as well. Perhaps humanity's next evolutionary step is recognizing that apex predators, who learn to cooperate with other apex species, create more stable environments than those who merely dominate. A provocative hypothesis, Saran acknowledged. Section Black will be monitoring its validity closely. As the Earth team disbanded for their new assignments, Darius found himself once more at the observation window overlooking the gas giant. The eternal storms continued their dance below, indifferent to the momentous shifts in power occurring above. Ambassador Talassi joined him, crystalline form refracting the starlight. Contemplating your victory, Ambassador Caney. Not victory, Darius corrected. Evolution. Earth came to this station as predators in suits, prepared to take by force what diplomacy had denied us. We leave as partners, having demonstrated both our capacity for dominance and our willingness to cooperate. A more sophisticated predatory strategy, perhaps, Talassi suggested. Cooperation that serves your long-term hunting interests. Darius smiled slightly. Perhaps. Or perhaps we're all evolving beyond simple predator-prey dynamics. The most successful ecosystems are those where apex species establish sustainable balances. An interesting perspective, Talassi acknowledged, crystalline structure pulsing with harmonic patterns, indicating genuine curiosity. I look forward to observing whether humanity maintains this philosophical position when future challenges arise. As do I, Darius admitted honestly. Evolution is never complete, only ongoing. Earth's transformation from near extinction to galactic partnership represents just one phase in our continuing adaptation. As they stood watching the gas giant's eternal storms, Darius reflected on humanity's journey. They had indeed come as apex predators in diplomatic disguise, prepared to seize control through calculated force. Yet when circumstances changed, they had adapted, revealing their predatory capabilities while demonstrating capacity for cooperation. Perhaps that was humanity's ultimate evolutionary advantage, not just being apex predators, but knowing when to hunt and when to partner. The suit was both disguise and symbol, the civilized exterior covering predatory capability, used or restrained as circumstances required. Earth hadn't sent diplomats to the galaxy. They had sent apex predators in suits. But those predators had demonstrated that evolution's highest expression might not be domination, but adaptive cooperation, the predator intelligent enough to recognize when not to prey. And in that realization lay humanity's most profound adaptation yet.